Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here with me today because I'm going to be showing you how to use up some of your junk mail envelopes. We're going to be making this adorable little album. So let's get crafting. Isn't this just the cutest thing? I love the way it turned out. So let's take a quick look inside so you know what we're going to be making today. So we have several pockets. We've got a top pocket here. Let me show you that here. And then we have a pocket here. And then over here is another pocket. You could put a gift card in there. And then we have a side pocket here. And on this page, I made a belly band. And then we have another pocket here, a pocket here, and then here's another one here, another pocket here. You can put your scripture card in there if you want, and then a pocket in the back where I put a tea bag. And then there's the back. Now, isn't that fun? Let's get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is to find 2 junk mail envelopes. And those would be the business size ones. And if you need measurements, they're approximately, looks like 4 1/8. Yeah, I would say about a 4, almost 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. So I think just a regular business size envelope will work. And if you don't have junk mail envelopes, you can use new envelopes, and you can get these at Dollar Tree for $1.25 or Walmart very inexpensively. So those will work too. But you know, I love repurposing, so I'm going to use up my junk mail envelopes. I'm going to use these 2, and I wanted to mention also, it doesn't matter if they have windows in them like this, because those are going to be covered up, so that's okay. So now you need to check your envelopes. If they have a flap like this, then we need to glue those flaps down. That would be the same thing you would do if you're using new envelopes. You're going to be just gluing on the edge here like you would normally glue an envelope. So I'm going to set these aside because I'm going to use my junk mail envelopes. Let me put those over here. And let's glue these shut. How about some art glitter glue today? We're just going to glue it right along the edge like you normally would. And then let's glue the other one shut. Okay, we have those glued shut. Now the next thing you're going to do, you're going to fold them in half as best you can. Okay, get them lined up. And then I'm going to grab my bone folder because I want these to be really folded. So I'm going to press this down to make sure there's a good fold on those. I'm going to go, let's turn it over and do the back. Okay, should look something like that. The next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to be cutting our envelopes down, and we want to leave them together when we're cutting them. Okay, so we're going to cut them 4 1/4 inches wide by 3 1/4 inches long. So let's measure that out and mark it with our pencil. Let me grab my pencil. So we're going to be measuring 4 1/4 inches here, and we're just going to mark that 4 1/4 inches there, and 4 1/4 inches here. And now we're going to draw a line because that's going to be our cutting line. Want to make sure we can see that. Okay, we're going to cut that first, and then we're going to cut this next. So now you have several options for cutting. I'm going to grab, I have a little cutting mat. I got this at Dollar Tree. Isn't this cute? I just love this. I use it so much. And you can use a utility knife. You can use an X-Acto knife. I've got let me grab it here. I've got a knife like this. I have used this. This works pretty good. You can use something like this. Now this is new. I've only used it once. So if you have one of these, I think these work pretty good too. But I think I'm going to go with the big knife. And be very careful because you want this sharp. So it's got 4 thicknesses to go through. And if you have a pretty, what should I say, robust cutter, you probably can cut it, but just with my paper trimmer like this, it will not go through all those thicknesses. Now I'm going to grab my metal ruler as my guide and get it lined up. And I'm going to do some cutting. So I'll probably press down, have to press down really hard. You want to hold your ruler tight. And you might have to make several passes. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, pretty good. I think I moved. There we go. Nice clean cut. That's what we want. Next, we're going to turn it like this. And we're going to measure this way 3 1/4 inches. So let's do that. Let me get some things out of the way here so you can see. So 3 1/4 inches. This way. Just like that. We're going to put a mark there. And then we're going to put a mark up here. And then we're going to draw a line. And we're going to put our metal ruler on there. Let me scoot that up. And then we're going to cut that right along that line. And I'm going to use my big knife again. And you saw how it was done. So I will probably do this off camera and I'll be back in a few minutes. I got the cutting all done and it should look something like this. The next thing I want to do, I do want to mark that this is the front and the top. So I'm just going to put an F and a T up here and mark this as the back and the top, because I want to make sure that I keep this as my cover, because that's why I wanted you to leave these together to cut them. Let me just show you real quick if they get reversed. What's going to happen, see how this is sticking out? I mean, if you happen to get them reversed, you can always trim that off. But this will just save a little bit of time and trouble if we just go ahead and mark this as the front and the back. The next thing you want to do is decide where you would like the pockets. Let's look at our prototype. So I have a top pocket here. I have 2 side pockets, and then I have a top pocket here. Now, if you want to do all top pockets, you could do that. If you want to do all side pockets, you can do that. If you want to alternate them, you can do that too. So it's really up to you how you want your pockets. I like them like this, so I think I'll show you this way, but really, you can just do it any way you want. So the next thing, let's glue our pockets. I think I will do the Fairly Art glue for that. Doesn't really matter. You can use any glue. There's a little piece of paper there I'll throw away. So if we want to have a top pocket here, then we want to glue along this edge right here. Let me get this up so you can see. I think I better get my wax paper out. Let's just take that out of there. Let's just press that down. And then this is the next page. Let me put that in there. And then the next page is a side pocket like this. So if we want a side pocket, then we need to glue along the top. Now, if it's easier for you to take these out, you can do that. So we're going to glue at the top because we want a side pocket. So like that. So let's just put it back in here so I don't lose track. Okay, so we've got a top pocket, a side pocket, and then I'd like a side pocket here, so we're going to glue at the top. And then the last page, we want a top pocket like that. So for a top pocket, let me get it apart here. We're just going to glue along this edge. All right, we have our pockets made. The next thing I'd like to do is ink around the edges. let me show you here. That's what I did on this one, and I do like the way it looks. Now, if you don't want to ink, that's entirely up to you. If you don't mind the white edges around there, then that's fine. But I really like the inking on this, so I think that's what I'm going to do. And for this one, I used this Festive Berries Distress Oxide by Ranger Ink, and I think it came out pretty, so I believe that's what I'm going to do this time. I want to mention, before you start inking, you'll want to put something down on your surface so you don't get ink everywhere. And sometimes I get ink everywhere anyway. I'm going to put my wax paper for gluing aside, and I'm just going to grab this piece and put this down. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to throw it away. So just lay one down. Now we're going to be inking around all the edges. Let's see here. I've got one, a red one. And you just go in like this. And I'm just going to go around like this. I do want it to go up a little bit on the edge. So just go like that. Doesn't matter that it smudges like that. Most of that's going to be covered up. And so you're just going to do the same thing on this side, and then also around all the edges here and all the edges here. So I think I'll do that off camera, and I'll be back in a few minutes. When you get done inking, it should look something like this. And I forgot to mention, you also want to do the folds. Let me just show you. You want to go along here and also go inside and do along the folds like that. Same way with here and there. I just folded it and went like that. And I'm glad we marked it. Okay, so this is our front top, and this is our inside top. I think I'm going to go ahead and let's put an IT up there for inside top. Okay, so it should look something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but you can just do it however you want and what's comfortable for you. The next thing we're going to need to do is to pick out our papers that we want to do the decorating with, like we did here, all these papers. And you're going to need 4 6-inch by 6-inch papers. So this would be a good time to use up your 6-inch paper pads. Now for this one, I used this Winter Stroll 2 by Paper Rose. I hope there's not a glare off of that. And I thought that was real pretty. I just love it. But I thought for this one, we'd use something different, change it up a bit. So pick out 4 papers of your choice, and that's what I did here. Okay, and just let me show you in this paper pad what it looks like. I just love these papers. They're pretty, and they are one-sided, and that's okay. They don't have to be double-sided papers. So this would be a good time to use up those single-sided papers. Next, what you're going to do is that you're going to take your 4 papers and we're going to do some cutting. You're going to be cutting 8 pieces. That's going to measure 4 inches. You're going to measure 4 inches by 3 inches. So let me show you how we're going to do that. You're going to be able to get 2 papers out of each one of these. So that's going to make the 8 papers that you need that measures 4 inches by 3 inches. So let me grab my paper cutter, and I just want to give you an example of how to do this. Let's take this one. Let me get things out of the way here so you can see. So now here's your paper. You know it measures 6 inches by 6 inches. So what we want to do is we want to cut the 4 inches first. So I'm going to line this up in my paper cutter. And that's 4 inches right there. Now we're going to save this 2-inch piece because we're going to be using that to do some decorating with in our little album. Then we're just going to turn our paper to the side, and now we're going to do 3 inches on this side. Now we have 2 of the 8 that we need. So you're going to be doing the same thing for each one of your papers. Let me just show you that once again. We're going to cut the 4 inches first, like this. And then we're going to turn it and cut our 3 inches. Just like that. When you get your cutting done, you should have 8 pieces that measure 4 inches by 3 inches. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. And then you should have 4 pieces that measure 2 inches by 6 inches. The next thing we're going to do is glue our papers in our album. You will want to decide which ones you would like for the cover, and I think I'm going to choose these for the front cover and the back cover. So let's get those glued on. All right, it should look something like that. You will want to go ahead and glue in your papers on each page of your album, just like we did on the front and the back cover. So just let me show you. You can pick out what papers you want to go on each page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be back in a few minutes. When you get all your papers glued in your album, it should look something like this. So that's page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6. I think it already looks pretty. I believe that's all I'm going to do for today. I think it'll be better if I split this up into 2 videos instead of having one long one. And also, that will give you a chance to get started on your own little Christmas album. Thanks so much for watching. I will be seeing you soon with part 2.